Hello everybody, we are back with another edition of the Redbird Report. It's been a couple weeks as Jim has kind of had to go a little bit west for a couple of weeks here in a row, as the Redbirds have had a pretty ambitious schedule so far through the non-conference slate.
They've actually traveled 11,000 miles this non-conference season, so they kind of got worn down a little bit, I think, by it. The schedule kind of evens out, so to speak, right now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you get to go to Nevada and Utah and all sorts.
Yeah, out west. Go west, young man, go west, huh? Or old man.
Yeah, really. So the Redbirds is kind of a little bit of an up and down, Jekyll and Hyde type season so far. They've had some good wins over Tulsa and some losses, and they've kind of been a mix and match with the lineup a bit right now with some injuries and things.
Yeah, you know, the only game that I really thought they lost that they should have won was Charleston Southern. That was a real bad game. It's kind of one of those games that you have about every 10 years and you just kind of throw that one away. A lot of things happened in that game that you haven't seen the last couple weeks, so that's good. The schedule they played is really ambitious, and especially being down two rotation guys like they've been down all season. Maybe the thought process for Dan Muller was it was going to make them tougher for Missouri Valley play. We're going to find that out here real soon. They're hoping that Elijah Clarence, their freshman point guard who's played 3 minutes this season, they're hoping that him and or David Ninja, their 7-foot junior center, they come back here real soon. Dan Muller will not say when they're coming back. He kind of wants to hold that card a little bit as far as preparation for the opponent, and any coach would do that. But I have a feeling we're going to see them either this Saturday at Ole Miss or next Tuesday when they play UIC at Redbird Arena.
Yeah, a couple of games coming up there. Getting those two guys back too will kind of help ease things a little bit on the veterans who've been helping out, like Keyshawn Evans and Phil Fain. They're playing well, but they need some help.
And they do, and it gives the Redbirds a lot more length. It gives them a length on the perimeter with Elijah. He's a 6'4", 200-pound guard. I mean, that's a lot of size on the perimeter they don't have right now. And, of course, David's 7 foot, a rim protector. They don't have that right now at all. So the addition of both of those guys will be huge, but it's going to take them time, especially Elijah. It's going to take him time to kind of get into the flow of things. When you're a freshman and you haven't played really since September, you don't know the plays like a veteran guy would do. It's going to take him a while to kind of fit in, I think, a little bit more than David. David went through the same injury really on his other foot last year, the stress fracture. He came back in his first game and played like 18 minutes and looked like he hadn't missed a beat. So they're kind of hoping when he gets back on the court, it'll be kind of the same progression he followed last year. And once he got back on the court last year, he didn't have any problems the rest of the year.
Let's take a look back at Saturday's game here at home. It was Murray State, 6-point loss and wound up being. They came back. They were down a bit, came back, got close. But a 30-point effort from Malik Yarborough, a good showing from him.
Malik played great. Phil Fain was not at the game. He was attending his grandfather's funeral in California. Malik knew he had to score more. Malik loves being a playmaker, but in this game he had to be a little bit more of a scorer than a playmaker. He really put the team on his shoulders. It was good to see. Malik he could be a great dominant player in the Missouri Valley. It seems like he's kind of figuring out what Dan Muller expects of him and wants of him every week. That was a good sign to see that, and Dan even said after the game that maybe they need Malik to look more to be a scorer than a distributor, kind of going forward. I'm interested to see how that kind of works out. But I thought it was a very good effort for ISU against being really shorthanded without Phil Fain especially, and the other two guys who I just mentioned, against a pretty good Murray State team.
Indeed, and then you like to see good performance from that on Malik after some of the, like you said, some of the trials he went through earlier in the season.
Yeah, he's just kind of finding his way. Didn't play last year. Came from St. Louis. He had a tragedy in his life. He lost his father, who was a big influence in his life. When you're 21 years old, that's tough, And he's kind of figuring his way out now. I think the best of Malik Yarborough is really yet to come.
Yeah, you mentioned it already. Coming up with a couple of games this week. First up is going to Ole Miss. The Twitter schedule game that Dan managed to work out last year. What do you expect to see against the Redbirds against the Rebels?
The Rebels like to get up and down the court. They like to put up shots and put them up fast. They got a lot of length on the perimeter, super athletic guys. Could be a fun game to watch. I think ISU kind of likes playing that way too, especially when they have Phil Fain back and Elijah, if he can play a little bit. I don't think ISU minds that kind of game at all. Malik obviously loves that kind of game. Keyshawn Evans they kind of like getting up and down the course. So I think it should be a fun game. I think ISU's got a chance to win that game. I really do. Ole Miss is not a great SEC team this year. Kind of in the lines of like a South Carolina. They have a little bit more firepower than South Carolina, though.
And then you said it's Illinois Chicago next week. And what to expect from the Flames?
The Flames haven't had as good a year as they thought they were going to. They still could be a contenders in the Horizon League. They expect to be. They've kind of gotten off to a little bit of a rough start. They have a really good forward. Hickson is his name. A really good athletic player. And they'll come down here in this game. You know, when you're playing another state school, the games seem to matter a little bit more than if you're playing, you know, like a Murray State or something like that. The intensity is just a little bit more. So, you know, I expect a good game from UIC coming here to Redbird Arena. I think it'll be a tough game.
Indeed, and not too far off in the distance, we've got the Valley season starting up. Some Valley teams are actually playing pretty well after this season.
You know, the Valley and the RPI, and we all found out last year the RPI really doesn't mean squat, and, you know, okay. But let's judge it what it is, you know. But they're ranked 8th in the preseason, or, you know, as far as how teams are doing, 8th out of 31 conferences. That's really a pretty good showing for the Valley minus Wichita State. God, if Wichita State was in the league, they might be 4th or 5th right now. Mm-hmm. So the Valley, it's going to be a different kind of league this year. I think there's going to be a lot of losses at the top. In the last couple of years, ISU and Wichita had one loss apiece last year.
Right.
Wichita went through the league season undefeated a couple of years ago. You know, they really ran the gamut pretty good. But I think this year the winner is going to have at least 4 losses.
And some notable wins, though, on their non-conference records. So.
Yes, yeah. Loyola, obviously, beating Florida was a huge win. Loyola's off to a great start. UNI is off to a really good start. They've only lost 1 game, the opener to Carolina.
Right.
And Missouri State, they've lost 3 games. They haven't played the greatest of schedule, so the jury's kind of out on them still a little bit. But talent-wise, they probably got the best talent in the league.
So it'll be fun to watch as the season goes along. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more shows as the season goes on. And follow along with all the coverage on Panagraph.com and in your daily Panagraph. Thanks for watching.